For those with good taste.
What is up, tasties and tastettes, and welcome back to another episode of FTWGT Weekly. It's your boy Lenny, joined again as always with the producer extraordinaire, Dante. How are you?
What up?
And that guy, D3333333, Allen Iverson, Ray.
Yo, what's up?
What is up?
What's up, brother?
And if you're what's up, brother, make sure to drop a like, comment, share, and subscribe, and sister, by the way, on the video down below. Make sure to hit that notification bell. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
You ever have any Allen Iversons shoes?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I had the slip-ons, the AIs, blue and white. They're fucking clean.
I don't remember what first.
Feet look huge as fuck though.
White
no
and black
laces.
with like the zipper that like went up over
Yeah.
the laces. Yeah.
I remember that one. Yeah, I liked those ones a lot. Yeah, mine were just the straight slip-ons, no laces whatsoever. Straight slippers, basically.
Laces out, Dan.
Comfortable as fuck though. Liked them. The only problem is they got creased at the top super easy when you you stepped because there's no like natural tongue.
Like
there.
similar to Air Forces?
I've never owned a pair of Air Forces.
Oh.
So I don't know. Not in my feng shui.
Gotta have a strong tongue.
Hey, can I ask you guys a trivia question?
Yeah.
Sure, you can ask me a trivia question.
All right, Dante didn't seem like you wanted to hear it. This is an over/under question. Over/under the amount of Reese's eaten in a year could reach to the moon from Earth.
What?
What's
True or false?
What's the number? What?
the
You
amount
t-
that it takes to go from space?
What's your
like
sample
you could
size?
eat?
No,
the amount of Reese's
Stacked-
Like
consumed in a
sold
year,
worldwide.
Worldwide.
consumed in a year
By one person.
stacked up on top of each other.
Not by one person. I think he means collectively. by everybody.
collectively would reach the moon.
Over.
Probably over. The moon's actually not as far as you would think.
This was
Oh,
where
it's
I was
not?
leading to that. It is over. That was a stat that I heard, and I was like, well, that's absurd. And for a lot of reasons, I was high, by the way, when this was posed to me.
Shocker.
And I found myself, I was like, well, dude, like by logic, stacking them would be really difficult because just eventually
side west side. You go longest edge.
It would fall over.
Okay, logic.
Um,
Yeah, sure.
Also, when it got super high, I was like, what would it start to lean over because the weight's too much?
Bro, you're thinking too hard about this.
And then I was like, the Earth spins, so it's straight up and then it spins. I was like, I went through.
what about once you're past the atmosphere and they're just free floating?
Yeah, that was the other problem I had. I was like, yeah, and then I got to Dave's point where I was like, how fucking far away is the moon? I have no idea. And I still don't. I didn't look it up. I have no idea.
Oh, God.
But I believe it when you say it's not that far. That's a lot of Reese's, though. No,
No, are we talking
How many Reese's is
standard
that?
traditional cups? Or are we talking
we're not talking
like,
big cups.
we're not-
big cups,
we're
you
not
got
including pieces?
minis, you got, the
I think this is-
Christmas trees.
This is standard 2 and 4 pack style Reese's.
If that's the case, then I would say no. You add on the Christmas trees and the Halloween pumpkins, then yeah, absolutely.
It's making it.
It is because you would say the thickness of a Reese's is an inch and a half, 2 inches, an inch.
No,
1 inch?
less than an inch.
You think it's less than an inch?
Yes.
What? The diameter of a Reese's?
Just
thickness of a
thickness.
Reese's.
Oh, the thickness.
You're stacking them on top of each other.
Oh, you're doing it that way. Yeah, it's less than an inch.
What'd you
Yeah.
think we were doing?
I thought we were going long edge.
Do it the
on
long
side.
way.
Yeah.
No,
You
no.
eat
Do you still
Subway
stand by
sandwiches the long way.
They wouldn't be able to stand up like that, dude.
Bro, it's just a measure of distance. Nobody's actually stacking Reese's to the moon.
Well, that's not the picture I saw. Had it stacked.
Oh, there was a picture.
I'm
for
pretty sure
reference.
there's a picture I had for reference. Yeah, you'd say they're about that thick though. An inch? You think they're less than an inch? You talking thins?
Dude,
They're
about
not.
the thickness of finger.
Bro, how big do you think an inch is?
Look, isn't this an inch? From the tip of your finger?
No,
isn't that an
thickness,
inch?
brother.
But I'm talking about from here to there. It's the height, the top digit of my.
Yeah,
All right,
and it's
even
smaller
if you're
than
using that as a unit of reference,
That's
that's
not
like
an
2
inch?
Reese's stacked.
No.
Yes.
No.
Like a Reese's
Yes.
and a half.
That's
When the fuck was the last time you had a Reese's cup, brother?
recently.
Not recently
No.
enough.
How many miles is it to the moon?
Oh.
Only 27.
27 miles.
It's the Boston Marathon.
No, I think it's like 27, like 50 miles maybe to the outer atmosphere. Maybe like 250 to 500.
I had this come across my my brain recently. I was also high.
What?
Hmm?
Did you look it up?
Yeah.
What is it? Wait,
You're wrong.
like 27,000 maybe.
No.
What is it?
238,000.
Okay, yeah.
Miles
Yeah.
to the moon.
Yeah.
That's a lot of Reese's.
That's a lot of Reese's, guys.
Well, if everybody in the world just has one, we'd make it.
No,
Well, no, it's like they can consume as much as possible. We're just
No.
saying that the worldwide consumption, they'd have to eat more than one, probably. You have to eat at least 2 per package.
Oh, yeah. What? 27 miles.
How deep is the Grand Canyon?
We're not talking miles anymore.
I think it's 1 mile deep.
No.
I think it's like 1.3 miles deep.
You're just making numbers up. I'm now realizing you don't know what an inch is. You don't know what a mile is either.
Look it up, dude. Am I wrong?
you
are
wrong.
just saying I'm wrong. You don't even know if I'm wrong, dude. You don't even know if I'm wrong.
No, let's find out. How deep is your love?
Because then I was thinking about like how high is the highest point you could possibly be off of the.
Oh, actually, damn.
Oh, what's the? Huh? Dante.
Deepest point is 1.3 miles.
I'd like my apology now.
Don't you look like a fool right now?
Yeah, you laughed at me. Said I didn't
did.
know anything.
I did.
I'd
'Cause
like
I
my
know
apol-
how
could
you
I,
roll.
Could I have an apology, please?
No. Fuck out of here.
So because it got me thinking. Because then I asked a question: how high up does a plane fly?
Cruising altitude of 30,000 feet.
Is that correct?
I mean, there's varying, but
And how many
around
feet
there.
are in a mile?
5,280.
So how many miles above the Earth are you when you fly? 6.
About.
So when you fly
Little
over the,
less.
when you fly over the Grand Canyon, you're like 7.5.
I can't stand you.
I don't know. These things cross my
How did we
mind.
get here? How did we get here?
I think they sang about that in Rent.
They talked about flying over the Grand Canyon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
7,263 feet.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
How do you measure a
Grand
flight
Canyon.
over the Grand Canyon?
Brother.
All right, off to a good start. We are here. Welcome to another episode of FTW GT Weekly. It's your boy Lenny joined again. Sorry.
What are you re-introing us?
Fresh start, clean start.
Are
Clean
you
start.
high right now?
No, weirdly,
Do you ever get
I've come
nervous?
down. I've come down from that. Do you guys want to? Let's start with the Oscars. Fuck it. Who cares, right? Let's just start with the Oscars, Dave.
Yeah, we got some Oscar noms this week.
Yeah. I didn't care that much about the nominations. It's always tough with the nomination stuff with the Oscars because there's so many of them that I haven't seen. Because I don't watch good movies or what they consider good movies. You know?
All the festival movies that we miss.
Yeah, like I don't watch artistic movies, and we'll
No.
get into that later. But like, it's not my style.
No,
Let's run through. Like you have the list up, right?
I do.
Best movies. Let's run through them. Dante, me and you, we saw how many movies last year?
You 108, me 106.
Do you think we know more than 4 of the movies we saw nominated?
Yeah.
That was,
Yes.
that was a trivia question to Dante.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, hit us.
1, 2,
Don't count.
3.
Just like,
Just list them, dude.
You've seen 4 of these, and it might just be 4.
I still don't know what movies we're talking about.
All right, would you shut up?
Will you speak?
All right. Nominees for Best Picture: Anora,
Uh-huh.
The Brutalist,
Uh-uh.
A Complete Unknown,
Uh-uh.
These could all describe Nora, the person.
Conclave,
Yeah, too.
Uh-uh.
Dune Part 2,
Yeah,
Oh.
that actually describes her as well.
Oh, wow.
Amelia Perez,
And
That's a movie?
Doesn't work as much.
I'm Still Here. That's the only one I don't know what.
I don't
Which
know
one's
what
I'm?
it is.
All right, that might be a foreign film. Nickel
Build
Boys.
a wall in front of that one.
Dante's favorite movie of the year, The Substance.
That got nominated?
Yes.
I don't know why you're surprised by that. You genuinely, Dante, are like the only person I know who outright hates it. I heard somebody the other day say it's the best movie of the year last year if you cut off the last 25 minutes.
Most people I've talked to say the last 25 minutes is what makes the movie.
Yeah, I think that's the argument. I think it's the most divisive part of the movie. I think it's so like crazy that I enjoy it. Like, I just am not shocked that it's getting nominations because like it's got a compelling story. It's got interesting visuals, like uncomfortable visuals. Like I think it hit and it has fantastic performances, right? Like there's at least 3 performances in that movie that I think are like people stand by. It's the 2 leads, and then I think what's his name, Dennis Quaid. Yeah. Dennis Quaid's the other one that like really stands out, right? So yeah, I'm not shocked that movie's up there for nominations. Like I get why you don't like it. I'm not saying you're wrong for not liking it either. It's like an uncomfortable movie. So
I get that's by design, but I just also think it's a little long and at points feels repetitive.
I don't know if I agree with the repetitive. I agree with the long. 100%. What do you think out of the ones that you know on there?
Wicked.
Oh, and Wicked. I'm sorry.
Winner.
Wicked should win?
Yeah.
I don't agree.
I don't agree either. My want is Anora.
Mine as well.
I foresee this going the way of The Brutalist, probably, even though I don't know anything about the movie.
The Brutalist feels like what would win.
I'm just unfamiliar with the movie.
I think some of the things I said, like I think where you have actors nominated for Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor in that film, it has the style that the like Oscars like to reward. I think from what I know about it, I haven't seen it, but like it feels like that would be my lead. I think that Anora for the general public would be the one because I think that that's the most like normal people see, you know. And it's like what I don't mean normal in a like insulting way either. I mean it more so in like your
average casual viewer.
Casual movie goer is not going to The Brutalist. Like, so at the end of the year, every year where this controversy, I think public opinion is going to be like, dude, Mikey Madsen, Anora, like this fucking movie's incredible. And then they're going to be like, I can't believe it didn't win. I think Wicked's going to be kind of in the same boat, but I don't think that personally. Wicked's good, but like Wicked's not the best movie of the year good. No.
I think Wicked definitely is up there for winning 1 to 2 other awards, but not Best Picture.
Yeah. Like it just didn't, it's not that to me.
I guess describe what exactly does Best Picture even mean?
I don't know if there's like a firm definition in what it means because it's not money.
Like
it's not, it's
everything put together.
Yeah.
Just best overall.
Directing, screenplay, acting, story, like all of that together in one movie.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've seen, while I think that like Wicked is like a very, very positively like viewed upon movie, I have seen people who are like not thrilled, like don't love it, you know? Like, and I think you also have the community that's going to compare it to the musical.
Yeah.
That are already going to either say it was like a perfect, perfect complement to the musical, or you're going to have the people that are like the musical is significantly better and like that's going to hurt it, I think.
I mean, there's always going to be polarity with everything, right? Like people are going to like and dislike a thing. And I don't think that because some people dislike it, all of a sudden that discredits what it was able to do, you know what I mean?
I get that. I think if this was the MTV Movie Awards, that I would believe Wicked could win Best Picture.
Okay.
Does that make sense though?
I guess I get where you're going with that. It's just I'm realizing now I don't have enough knowledge of the Oscars and how it runs. I've never watched the Oscars, so like
assume that the movie that's not the most stylized and highest grossing isn't what they're going to lean towards for their winner.
Gotcha.
Like whereas like again, MTV Movie Awards is gonna love how stylized and glitz and glamour and like how much money that movie made and the pop culture impact that it made is gonna pay dividends in those type of award shows. But in the eyes of the Oscars, again, I'm not an Oscars watcher, but just my opinion from like an outside perspective of seeing a lot of movies over the years that I thought were incredible and don't even get a sniff at these type of award shows, the Brutalist feels like it's perfect for it. It's something that I'm gonna hear about was great, but I'm never gonna have interest in like truly spending the time.
I guess
It's kind of like what's the movie called? There Will Be Blood. I feel like it's like that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Kind of like that movie. Actor, actress. We got any
so I'll give
standouts?
you directing real quick. I'm not going to give you. I'm not going to give you the names of the directors because you guys don't know any of these names, but I'll give you the movies. Amelia Perez, Honora, The Brutalist, The Substance, and A Complete Unknown. I just want to, before we kind of like talk anything about this, just go back on a quick comment that our friend Dante over here made. So do you know anything about Amelia Perez?
No, I have no clue what that is at all.
Okay.
Penis and vagina. Penis and vagina.
Man to a woman.
Yeah.
Woman
Is this a
to
song
a
from the
man.
fucking movie?
As the
Right.
only person in this room that has watched any of this movie, I think I watched about 45 minutes and I had to stop.
I watched the TikTok.
It was
I knew that was coming.
brutally bad.
And so this opens up an interesting question to me. Do you think that
13 nominations, by the way, in 13 categories.
so it's the most decorated movie? I forget the other like two movies that it's up there with the most nominated of all time, and it's a movie that every single person that has like I've seen on social media has been like, this is a god awful movie. They put up its letterbox rating compared to a bunch of other movies that aren't even nominated for these awards, and it's a full point less, like a full star less than other movies.
I
Like
think it's
A Complete Unknown, things like that are all
74% Rotten Tomato for critics and then like 27% from audience members.
Even
So-
Rotten Tomatoes didn't like it. Like 74 is low.
Yeah.
I'm wondering though, is this going to be an instance? Do you think that there's a thing where public response, like the social media outrage, is going to impact whether or not they win these awards or not?
Maybe. I think the only one that it has the strongest chance of actually winning might be directing.
Yeah.
Personally, I think like there was enough risks taken in this movie where like it's unique.
So
in a
what,
sense.
for the 45 minutes you did watch, not like a full review, like what makes it so bad?
So like
That song, I get
so
it. But
well,
like,
I didn't even get to that song.
yeah.
But they break out into song, but nobody's singing.
They just
Everybody's
speak,
like
sing.
speaking like rhythmically, and it's just it doesn't fit. I don't know. It's awkward is all I can really say.
It's also weird in the sense that I feel like it's a movie that never hit my radar, and it has a lot of actors that you would recognize
Yeah.
in it. And that's weird where, again, 108 movies. And for this to have not crossed my radar when it has...
Did
What,
this
um,
not come out in theaters?
Netflix.
I see.
It's what it had. Zoe Saldana was like one of the leads.
Zoe
right?
Saldana and Selena Gomez.
Like very recognizable people, and it just never even like crossed my mind to watch this movie. And it's getting this type of praise. In effect, you said it's a Netflix movie, which I didn't even know. That seems very odd that it's getting this type of praise too, right? Is that a controversy? This is my Alex Jones coming through.
Netflix frogs the Oscars.
Is somebody paying? Okay, what has been one of the biggest critiques? It has been from like these acclaimed directors that like good quality movies don't come to streaming, right? It's been like superhero movies and streaming are the death of the movie industry.
Yeah, I feel like it was Spielberg that was going on rants a couple
I
years
thought it was
ago.
Ridley Scott, maybe, but like it was one of those. Like I feel like it wasn't Spielberg, but wasn't it?
James Cameron, maybe.
It could be Cameron. Who's the guy who also did The Irishman?
Oh, Martin Scorsese.
I feel like that's a him thing too. But I guess my point being is that like there's this like overarching thought that like good quality, like that there's a certain type of movie that goes to streaming, and you'd wonder if my skepticism comes through, like our radar is up here. It's saying like this company has a ton of money. And who's to say just getting their name on the bill for all of this stuff isn't like legitimizing them in some way to wipe that critique away from them?
Yeah.
Is that unrealistic?
No, I mean, I'm sure it's the Netflix themselves probably put a lot of money into, getting this advertised more and getting it more spotlight to get to this point.
Because you send screeners like this, like for movies you want nominated, you send that stuff in. Like, of course, there's things that are no brainer going to end up nominated, but there's a lot of stuff that is like it's manipulation by like production companies and like the studios of sending their stuff to the people who nominate.
They're just trying to push their mixtape.
Yeah,
I think I've been seeing a lot of stuff too about there's a lot more foreign influence recently, or like in recent years.
We talking Saudi money. We got the Saudi
oil money
within the Academy, where like obviously like you have the director is French, and obviously this is a movie set in Mexico, so
weird.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I can't say I'm gonna watch this. There's some like level of intrigue, which is good.
How
I
bad
guess.
can it be? Like that's why I wanted to watch this.
It's two things. How bad can it be? Is it as three? I guess. How bad can it be? Is it as bad as what everybody says it is? And three, how did it get to the position that it's in? I think
the problem is it's a musical. So if there's already people saying it's bad and it's a musical, it's already losing even more points for me.
Yeah. I think I'd be in the boat where you are, Dave, where I'd get 30 minutes in and be like, this is such a train wreck. I can tell everybody.
My phone came out and it's a subtitled movie where you have to like read it. So I was just like, I was already lost and I'm like, all right, cool. We're done.
Is there any other things on there that stand out for you?
So actor in a leading role, Adrian Brody, Timothy Chalamet for Complete Unknown.
Not for
Dune.
Interesting.
Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing. Ralph Fiennes.
They were going to say Machio.
Conclave.
For the Karate Kid.
And Sebastian Stan from The Apprentice. I feel like that's a one-man competition with Adrian Brody.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never saw Sing Sing, so maybe Coleman Domingo kind of gets some...
I think some people are going to root for him, for sure. I think you also, like... I'm sure there's a Chalamet camp out there just because of how popular he is and how good he's been in the past couple months, but I can't imagine that winning.
No. Actress in a leading role. Personally, I didn't see the movie, but I think from what I hear, it goes to one person. But there's one person that I want to win this. All right, so you have Cynthia Erivo from Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon and Amelia Perez, Mikey Madsen. That's where I want it to go. Where I think it probably will go is Demi Moore from The Substance and Fernanda Torres from I'm Still Here. By the way, still don't know what that movie is.
I'm happy to see Demi Moore getting love like this, like late in her career. And like, it does feel like she's in a good spot to win the award. Mikey Madsen again. Like, I just want to see Honora get praise at that level. And I think that like that's the type of thing where her career already is like launched to a stratosphere, but I assume it just launches even further at that point. So yeah, you want to see it, but I think you think it's just a Demi Moore race. You don't think like Cynthia Erivo has got anything there or anything?
I don't think so.
No.
I'm Still Here is a Brazilian movie, it looks like.
What's the plot?
1970, former congressman returns to Brazil after 6 years of self-exile following the revocation of his tenure at the outset. Dude, I don't know.
Doesn't sound interesting.
No. Somebody coming back.
It's a political drama. So
yeah, somebody coming back to Brazil after a coup, essentially.
That screams it's going to win something, though. Again, like
true.
That message there screams it's going to win something.
Actor in a supporting role, Yura Borisov. He was the Slavic dude kind of running around in Honora.
Okay.
With that group.
Yep.
Kieran Culkin in A Real Pain. Edward Norton in A Complete Unknown. Guy Pearce in The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong in The Apprentice.
It feels like Culkin should be in a spot to probably win this.
I feel like this is one that I think it could go to probably any of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 4 of them that I think when you said it, I was like, but Culkin's been winning, and they say a lot of those other ones, the Globes or the Emmys or whatever one that just came past isn't a good indicator as to what the Oscars will do. But Karen Culkin's been winning a lot of these awards right now for Best Supporting. I think that movie has the feeling that it should at least get something, and his performance is probably the one that makes that movie, even though it's a supporting role.
Was A Real Pain, was that the Holocaust tour movie? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's the brother, the manic,
yeah.
crazy brother. Yeah. But you say the Guy Pearce one, I think probably makes sense. There was one other one in there. The Apprentice one, I've heard his performance is fantastic. I've heard Sebastian Stan in that is very good too, for that matter. But I think that's a movie that in Hollywood isn't going to get a lot of love probably because of the topic. So yeah, I think it's probably either Karen Culkin or Guy Pearce.
Yeah. And we got actress in a supporting role. Monica Barbaro in The Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande in Wicked, Felicity Jones in The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini in Conclave, and Zoe Saldana in Amelia Perez.
Dante, do you think it's weird at all? Demi Moore's getting a ton of love for her role in Substance, but I feel like Margaret Qualley's not getting a ton on her side.
Well, I do think that she has gotten a lot of praise. She's just not getting award nomination praise.
Yes. I just wonder what objectively, Demi Moore's performance is probably the more impressive one, and I guess what it is the nature of the movie is more directed towards the character of the older person in that movie, so it makes sense that she's getting the award praise, to Dave's point, not necessarily the praise for the movie itself.
I mean, but Margaret Qualley, come on, she still was a great support and backup.
Well, and you talk about literally support, it's the same.
They're supposed to be the same person.
Her character supports the whole endeavor of that movie, she's such an important facet, and that movie's getting best movie nominations, best actress nominations. It's weird that the supporter isn't getting as much praise out of that, to me.
Yeah.
I have no opinion on any of those. None of those really stand out to me, which is a bummer. None of those female performances ring out as anything. I didn't see Conclave, so I don't have an opinion on that one. Brutalist, again, I would just probably say Brutalist. Feels like Brutalist is going to win a lot. Which is crazy because, again, Amelia Perez has gotten nominated for so much. The thing I was most interested in getting into, Dave, and I don't know if you have a list up for it, I wanted to talk about some of the snubs that came from this.
I don't.
What's that
up?
So the movies that didn't get nominated for anything. So I know we talked about a big talking point for us was Civil War.
Yeah.
Civil War didn't get a single nomination. No cinematography, no visuals, nothing. There's a few movies that didn't get any nominations that when you read them, you're like, oh, okay. You'd think they would have gotten something. I saw Furiosa was on there. That one's not horribly surprising.
Yeah.
It is crazy in the spec when you think about the fact that the last Mad Max got so much in terms of nominations, mostly for visual and audio stuff, but this movie got nothing.
Yeah.
Anything from Lee was snubbed. I think you were the only one to see that.
Yeah. In her performance is fantastic. That one's not shocking because it didn't get enough buzz. I'm sure if that movie had and I guess that is the thing. I'm sure they sent her performance and it just didn't stack up against the other 6 women or whatever that were nominated.
How about Denzel as best supporting actor in Gladiator?
Bummer. He should have gotten a nom. I don't think he should win, but
yeah.
But then again, you listed off 6 people and I said 4 of them could win. So who are you going to kick out?
Where do we draw the line?
Yeah, who do you kick out to give Denzel a nom for that? But I do think that it deserved again a tip of the hat for the performance,
It's kind of all I'm seeing here, other than Margaret Qualley is on this.
Was she on that? That makes sense.
All right.
Because I thought I'd seen a couple other ones that popped out to me, but
Nicole Kidman and Baby Girl.
No.
You don't agree, Dante?
No.
All right.
Nickel Boys was another one that didn't get any nominations that people say.
I thought that was one of the first
It was on
ones you
here
said
as
for Best Picture.
Oh, was it?
Best
Yeah.
Picture,
Why
yeah.
wait. No, actually, this is showing the actual nominations. Never mind. That's on me. I clicked the thing and then it gave me the complete opposite, actually, of what.
What you asked for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Challengers didn't get anything either.
Huh.
Wild Robot did get a nomination for the score.
Best
Okay.
animation or best
Did it?
animated movie.
I think it's going to end up being Flow that wins that.
Yeah, that seems like the type of movie that would. I
Yeah,
guess.
no dialogue, anything.
Yeah.
Any other things you have in there, Dave, before we move on?
No.
No. Okay, let's talk really quickly about Sinners. Trailer we just watched. It came out today. Movie that coming off of like our anticipated films is definitely one of the ones that's up there, I think, across the board for all of us. I think it's interesting for you, Dave, because you're not like into the horror genre, and this is definitely bordering on that genre. It's got a 30 Days of Night feel to me a little bit, if you ever saw that Josh Hartnett movie.
Yeah. So I mean, this is if it even is considered horror, this is the kind of movie that I would watch where it's not like hidden horror, I guess.
Like jump scare? Is that what you're talking about? Or is
yeah.
it like...
This seems like a straightforward story with either like demons or vampires like attacking a group of people.
So you
like
just don't
everything,
like the suspense horror.
I guess. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's what you're getting at.
Well, I in the way he's describing it, I think what it more so is for you is like, I think you more want like an action horror, like more driven in that regard, where it's not like, and you brought up suspense. I think that in an action horror, it's more in your face, the way like it's more aggression than it is like oh my god, like shock.
Yeah,
like,
I don't
out,
care for like movies where it's like a one man like killer like chasing down or hunting people and scaring them.
But
those
like
are arguably the best ones.
Opinion, but so like, because like to you, for instance, this isn't like quality or anything. Is Resident Evil like a horror movie?
It was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I've only seen the first one.
But like thinking back on it now, if that movie was to come out now, would you consider that horror in your mind, or would you consider that action?
Action.
And that's where I think the distinction here is with like the Sinners is
kind of like a sci-fi action more so.
It just feels like an action movie, even though it has horror elements. Like zombies are a horror element, or a vampire. Underworld, I guess, for somebody could have been a fucking horror thing, you know. So I guess that's kind of the distinction there. This 30 Days a Night, have you guys seen that? That movie?
Long time ago.
Have you seen it, Dante?
I don't think so. Because I keep thinking 28 Days Later, but that's a whole different thing.
So backstory for me, when I bought my PlayStation 3, it was the first Blu-ray. Like that was when Blu-ray was first rolling out.
Yeah.
And it was like you could either buy a Blu-ray player for $500 or you could buy a PlayStation for $350 and you got a gaming console that played Blu-ray. They were giving free Blu-rays that you could choose a free Blu-ray from like the rack or whatever to get with the console when you bought it. So I remember getting 30 Days a Night. That was like the first Blu-ray movie I ever owned. And I had and I remember it just has a super cool scene because it's about a town in Alaska, like one of the things where it goes dark for the month or whatever, and vampires roll into town at the beginning of the month and are killing the entire town throughout the month where it doesn't get
so did I see
out.
that and I'm confusing what 28 Days Later is? Or is 28 Days Later a similar premise?
Well, 28 Days Later
like
is
a zombie movie,
a viral
England.
infection that like you
but
pick
it was
up
in
on
Alaska, right?
No.
No, then I am thinking 30 Days a Night.
Do you remember the scene? Because the scene I was going to talk about, like from watching it on Blu-ray for the first time, is there's this overhead shot that they do panning over the town, and it's white snow, and you see the vampires like going street to street, and you just see the blood like spraying across the street. And I just remember on like my first time watching something in Blu-ray, like high def, and being like this crisp,
getting all the little details,
like this crisp white shot with like the blood's really like popping because like a contrast. And I remember like that moment of being like, this is fucking watching movies at home. Yeah, you know, this is sick. But this movie has like kind of that vibe to it, where it's like this small, like this southern town, probably like having a great time, whatever. It's like got an older feel to it, and then like these demons or vampires roll into town, and you've got to stave off this killer group, right?
Yeah, I mean, so we had like one or two like teaser trailers of this movie prior, and like it seemed interesting enough. Obviously, just being another Coogler and Michael B. Jordan production. I mean, the acting already looked good enough in those teasers, but in this trailer that just dropped, you actually got like a taste of what the story is going to look like, and what kind of direction that the movie is going to take. And I mean, yeah, to your point, it definitely leans more into the horror than we kind of knew before, but it's a lot more action. It looks like everything that is all the horror elements in this are going to be very like in your face, like you know what's going to be coming.
Yeah, you know what the opposition is, like yeah. How do you feel coming out of the trailer, Dante? More interested, less interested? I know Dave was a little frustrated with like, you know, like any trailer, they give away things that you don't want them to give away.
I never watched the teaser trailer, so this was kind of like my initial peak of interest for it. But
we watched the teaser here like 2 months ago.
I didn't want to bring it up the first time you said that to us earlier. I was just like, it is what it is. Dante doesn't remember shit. It's fine.
No, I really don't. Wow, damn. But yeah, no, I'm pretty pumped for it.
Do you? So, I want to do a top 5. I think along the lines of a topic like this, but I wanted to ask you guys, like, how much does like an actor or an actress in a movie dictate your level of interest in seeing?
A lot.
Because for me, once I become interested in like an actor or an actress, like I end up like me and you went to the movies last Thursday for like the John B thing. It's like I know that movie's not going to be great, but like I'm interested in his career, so I'm gonna probably see most of the stuff that he comes out. Just I want to see where it goes.
Honestly,
you know?
I think that's one of my higher points of excitement for a movie is when there's like actors or actresses that I know I really enjoy.
Yeah,
and I've come to kind of view them that way because of you. Like kind of. I don't know, like made it like, oh, like now I can deep dive into like, oh, I found this actor or actress I like. Let's see what else they got. Oh, I've never heard of this movie. Let me check this out. Oh my God, I love it. You know?
Yeah, and then you have more of an attachment to those performances, and I think you enjoy the movies. Me personally, and I guess the reason I asked the question, it gets me interested in seeing more stuff, like a different varying qualities, and it gets me probably
it gets
more
you to kind of check out different genres too. I think I feel like
How much does it impact you?
I think it used to impact me more than it currently does. I think I used to like focus in hard on like a particular actor or actress in a movie and then do like a deep dive. Oh, hey, what else? But I don't think I really feel like that anymore. It really comes down to like, do I think the movie is going to be good? And that's all that kind of matters. It really doesn't matter who's in it. You could have a star-studded cast. If I think the movie doesn't look good, I'm not going to waste my time.
I don't think it matters so much for me about like star-studded cast as much as it matters like actors or actresses I know I personally enjoy their work.
Well, like I bring this up to say like Haley Steinfeld, right? Like this movie could have no Ryan Coogler or like Michael B. Jordan attached to it. And I think I would include Michael B. Jordan actually a little bit into this conversation, to where like I would have a peaked level of interest to be like, oh, Haley Steinfeld's doing this movie. Like, let's see what this is about.
Yeah,
all right, if we're talking about this movie specifically, I don't think Haley Steinfeld would pique my interest in seeing this. Michael B. Jordan has an elevated, like I guess, like interest level in.
But I think that's kind of what because one of the people when I was thinking about this topic the other day, and it wasn't Haley Steinfeld that brought it to my mind, but like I think it was the John B thing. In all honesty, because like we did this a year ago, me and like right around the same time with the PLL, and like
what brings me to you?
What brings me to you? That's where I was kind of thinking about the topic, but Glenn Powell was one of the names that popped into my head because he's been such a thing in the past year. We've talked about it a million different times. In his like that's the thing about being a drawer in Hollywood, right? Is like he's a recognizable name, and they've clearly trying to position. And the thing we talked about a ton is have they successfully done this where he's a it guy? Like he has something coming out, like
you got to go watch.
There's an elevated level of interest, and I think they've done that with Michael B. Jordan. through Black Panther, Creed, stuff like that, have established a guy that you see him show up in a role that's not a straightforward action movie. It's a little bit different, and you're like, interest peaked. I want to see this.
I think, I guess, to kind of go against what I'm saying, the only person that I will probably keep an eye out for in the next like year or two to see what kind of projects they're doing. Man, I love Mikey Madison.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Honora was so damn
Does it
good.
make you want to watch Scream 5?
Not at all. No. It does make me want to watch, I know she probably plays a very small role, but Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah. You could also see...
I've had a lot of friends telling me never to watch that movie because it's awful, but...
I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney's in it, though.
So is Margaret Qualley, right?
Yeah. They all have like little tiny like bit roles. I hate that movie. Yeah, it's not very good.
Okay.
The ending's cool. Yeah, that might be a top 5 down the line. That's something that I was thinking about. One other little piece of news to get into, announced no season 2 of Agatha all along.
Yeah.
Or at least not. So the director is the same director who did...
well, I think the assumption was always going to be that you're going to either lead... That show was to introduce Wicked.
So Jack Schaefer was the person. It says Agatha all along will not be getting a season 2. She's not interested in making a second one. She also turned down Marvel's offer of making a WandaVision season 2. Does that lead you to believe that this character is dead, or do we continue on into the movies or integrate her into a different TV series?
Well, she is dead.
But like she's a ghost, so she's still usable entity.
She walked off with the lead character to help them go on their next quest, basically.
She flew off.
But yeah, okay.
She dead.
Heavily involved still in.
Sure.
I meant dead, like in the sense of like not returning.
I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I think the whole point of this was to just introduce Wiccan. It's either going to lead into a Wiccan show, or Wiccan's going to get introduced to, if they ever do a Young Avengers, which I no longer believe that they're going to do because they're waiting way too much time and these people aren't young anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've introduced enough of them that you could have done it by now. It goes back to like how much got pushed back just with like having to rewrite or reorganize.
Haley Steinfeld's what? She's 30 right now?
Yeah.
And she's one of your young...
She can get away with being 22, 23, I feel like. Again, John B., I'm just saying. Like, that guy is 35 years old. Plays a 19-year-old. Like, we get away with shit in Hollywood quite often. What was the whole... like? And it very, very rarely bites people in the ass except for that Evan Hansen kid. You know? He's the only one who got really dinged by that.
Ben Platt.
Right? Yeah. That's his name. I don't think I have any other news. Anybody else?
I've got one little thing that I saw come across my desk this past week. There was a bill proposed by a Connecticut politician. Don't know what level of politics that they're in, but to require movie theaters to advertise both their scheduled start time for movie trailers and advertisements and the start of the movie itself.
And that's something...
Love that.
But that's something that's going to be enacted in state law. Sounds kind of ridiculous. Like, I like it, but like...
I don't know.
Too many people miss movies.
Let's get that ball rolling, though. You know?
Well, you know what's funny? So me and Dante went to that movie last Thursday, and we usually go to AMC. This time we went to Randolph. Yeah. And I mentioned to Dante, I was like, did you notice on the ticket, it said the movie started at 7. It said the end time was 8:51.
Okay, so that's actually something I haven't seen either.
It said the exact time it was going to be over, right down to the minute. And then to the point where me and Dante went in with like the logic that it was going to probably be like 20 minutes of trailers like usual.
No, and it started at 7.
That timing didn't make sense because I was like, the movie's this long. We walk in.
We walked in at like 7:05.
No, it was 7:15ish. Like
really?
Between 7:10 and so Dante got fucked, by the way. We went to by me. We went to Showcase Cinema. He ordered ahead. This guy orders ahead. What did you get?
Chicken tenders and fries.
He orders chicken tenders and fries. It's the express line. I go there. I order mozzarella sticks at the counter. I get mine. I finish my mozzarella sticks before he got his food to go to the movie. So they caused us to be fucking late because we're just standing out there like dickheads. Mind you, there's not a waiting area. There's just a weird little closet that they make your food in, and then they just pop out and give it to you. So you're just standing around like awkwardly waiting for somebody to come out of a room with some food.
Yeah.
Neither here nor there. But the movie, we walked in, the movie was a 7:00 start. It was already 15 minutes in the movie. It started like right at 7. Kind of screwed us, actually. A little bit. But it was cool. I think I don't know how I feel. Like
I don't think they screwed you. I think AMC screwed you by setting an expectation that you
by setting.
I see what you're saying.
Thanks, bud. Let me finish my sentences and then you can interrupt me afterwards. Yeah.
How about that? Yeah.
So AMC has set that expectation with you guys that, a movie's actually going to start 27 to 30 minutes after,
I've been to other movie theaters, though, and you still have, like, a little bit of runtime of, like, trailers and
AMC's
stuff
getting worse, though. Like, I don't... And
worse how? Like, more inconsistent, you mean?
Oh, no, more trailers, dude. I'm at 25 minutes now before the movie starts.
It's been 25 minutes.
It was 15 to 20.
There was also a time, like a month ago, you were trying to convince me there was sub 20 minutes for a movie. I swear to God, me and you got into an argument about this.
That never happened.
We did in this room. And I was like, why is he fighting with me on this when I know, like, we both go to the same amount of movies? I know he knows that it's longer than what he's telling me right now for the start of fucking movies. But yeah, I think they've added an additional trailer to the start of movies. Because, like, you look at the 20-minute mark, and you're like, okay, it should be going to that AMC bullshit like thing. And instead it's just like R-rated thing, like it pops up on the screen and you're like, another one? No. Like another one of these fucking trailers, dude? We're at 7 before each movie, I think now.
I've never counted, but damn, that's kind of crazy.
It feels like it's 7 though. I didn't actually count, but that's like an estimate. I think it feels about right though. Yeah, I mean, if they do it, they do it. It doesn't bother me. It's cool that they're thinking about it. It is nuts to your point that it's at a state level that it's like, that's got to be enough people like civil complaints.
Yeah, like, oh, like I paid for this and
yeah, I tried to get a refund because I missed the first however much of my movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, like it sucks if like you can't effectively like plan the rest of your day. That's an exaggeration, but like if I'm going to a 5:00 movie and it says that the movie is an hour and a half long, I should be thinking, all right, cool, I can go pick up the kids at 6:30 or do whatever you need to do. Mm-hmm. But instead now you're getting pushed back. You're not getting out of that theater until like 7:05.
But where does
the problem is like, we know that because we go to the movies enough, and I guess I get it for like the like casual goer that probably only goes like 4 or 5 times out of the year that just has no idea how this works. But anytime I see the runtime, I add 20 minutes.
But here's my question though: if you enact this, does that mean that they're listing to the end of the credits for runtime of the movie?
Because then you got to calculate the 10 to 15 minutes of credits,
and also the post credit movie. Like this is more my issue. Is there's so much post-credit trailers and things like that, and are you now introducing spoilers? Like if we're getting kind of crazy with this by saying
now, hey, I need full timestamps separated by chapters.
If you want to leave at the end of the movie, there's this, but like stay the extra 10 because you're gonna get the like how does that work?
Yeah,
I don't think it's ever gonna happen. Like, thanks to this guy in Connecticut for trying to make moves, like throwing this up on a bill, getting it nominated. But I can't imagine it's happening, right?
It's not going anywhere.
Fight the fight.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1.
Spoiler.
Do you guys have it?
Do you have it?
Do you have it? Guts.
Taste.
Guts.
Taste.
Dante tastes it in his guts.
And back to Mo with the results.
Who the fuck is Mo?
Okay, so this week we are getting into our next movie review, movie breakdown, walk through. So last week we did No Country for Old Men, and we decided to piggyback that with the other movie that was filmed in the same area at the same time with There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
Dave, I'll kick this over to you to start things off. So There Will Be Blood was one that was interesting to you because you're a Daniel Day-Lewis guy.
Yep.
Where does this now stack in the does this live in the lore of all the other performances? Is this a head and shoulders above? Is it below? Like, because we're not. I only ask because neither me or Dante are Daniel Day-Lewis guys.
I think I still I enjoyed his performances in My Left Foot and Gangs of New York and Lincoln. I think more than this. He didn't win for Lincoln though.
No, but he won for this.
He won for this, and I mean, I do still think it was an absolutely crazy performance.
Do we get into this now?
I don't think the movie was all that great.
But here's the thing, dude. Like, there was times where I was like, wow, this guy's great. But that was like a small percentage. Like, there was just nothing, as a guy who's not invested into, and it's funny, we were just talking about like actors getting you invested into going and seeing things. I think for you, maybe he's a person who piques that interest for you. Maybe you're not going out of your way because you waited as long on this. But
yeah, well, so that's he embodies a role. He plays a different character, different role, different type of person in everything that he does, and he's such a method actor that like he just loses himself in a character, which is why like you see like most of his roles are like there's 5 years in between each one of his movies.
You want to know what's crazy about method from this movie? It wasn't even just him. They had the editors of the movie eating the same diet that his character was, like that he was eating to play the character. So there was nights where they had the cast or the editors just eating steak and straight vodka because they wanted them to be in his mental state to edit the movie.
That's crazy.
Right? Like, so like that's how like into the performance that I think like it bleeds into the rest of the
and you're talking like months after the movie has been shot. Like they're in their own rooms in their studios just eating steak and vodka.
To be in the mental state to understand the way to cut the video, to cut the movie. And not only that, when I was reading out like background to the movie, they filmed who directed this? I can't remember the name. Wes Anderson, right?
No.
Paul Anderson.
Paul Anderson.
Yeah.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
So
Paul
he filmed a bunch of scenes at different set locations with the idea that like in the editing process, they would decide which one looked the best to fit the film. So like the whole thing was like, it's very lived in. And I was trying, so you kind of gassed me up on the Daniel Day-Lewis thing to where like, I'm like eye out for what's so great about this guy. And the performance I think was hard to point at anything that was great because it's a movie that's,
I think the
long.
movie was
it's very long and
dry.
it's dry.
Yeah.
But the thing that I took away from his performance or what, because like it's just like, why did he decide to do this? Like, what's the thought process into a guy like this deciding what roles to get in? And I think the thing that stands out to me is because of how he lives in the roles. He picks a movie like this because it's 2 hours and 2.5 hours of dialogue. Because there's so much for him to chew on and resonate from a character standpoint is why he chose the movie. And I can appreciate that from just watching this film. I know why he desired to do this movie because there's nothing on the outside to me that's like super interesting, but he saw a fucking book of dialogue and was like, I can be this. They've given me so much to absorb to become this person, right? Like that's the vibe I got from it that I took away.
I was definitely like unimpressed with the movie itself. It was obviously a little dry, very verbose, but man, I just think like you look at the character of what was his name? Daniel Plainview. And man, did he play one just like badass, like evil, narcissistic motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It, like slowly building throughout the layout of the movie, I feel like.
And dude, I mean, props to Paul Dano as well. I thought he also kind of crushed his little pathetic role.
Well, I think that the reality was from me watching the movie is that I was watching it to be impressed by Daniel Day-Lewis, and I still found myself again, Paul Dano being the
he was
guy
more
who
of a standout for me. Yeah,
and it's maybe because he had the most like eccentric, like like his role itself was the
ton
most
of
eye
energy
grabbing.
behind it. Yeah,
Yeah. But like he was definitely the scenes that stood out to me the most were stuff that he was involved in.
yeah.
Right. Like he was definitely like one of the things that got me in this movie.
I mean, like, we came off of last week watching No Country for Old Men and talked about going into this and like comparing like the similarities, like they came out the same year, shot on the same set, blah blah blah. I expected a similar movie. I had no idea what this was going to be. Good God, was this way less enjoyable than No Country for Old Men?
Yeah, I mean, so you just look at the like award season from that year. Like Daniel Day-Lewis won for Best Lead Actor, but No Country for Old Men won Best Movie or Best Picture.
Gotcha.
And I definitely agree with that sentiment. Watching both of these movies now in a week, 17, 18 years later, I definitely think that was definitely right.
Yeah. I give you that. Like, there were definitely some good performances in the movie, but the movie overall was just way too dry for me. And like, this comes back to the whole like watching a movie in theaters versus at home. Like, there was just so much call for distractions, and I had to rewind so many times, and it was just like I was losing interest so fast.
There was only one time that I rewound, and I think it was on the beach, and it was like his realization that like this guy isn't his brother. Like, I kind of wasn't paying attention, and then all of a sudden, like I saw like the awkward silence with like his head in his hands, and then next thing you know, like Daniel just gets up and goes into the water, and he has just this scowl on his face. I'm like, what did he say? Like, why is he so angry right now? Rewound it, and I was just like, he was talking about like, oh, like at like the peach dance or whatever, and I was just like, oh, he just said something that like the other guy didn't pick up on, and he knows like he isn't from where I'm from.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, this movie felt to me like a chore in a way.
Oh, to watch it?
Yeah. I started watching it yesterday,
and it's 2.5 hours.
And
long.
I got 40 minutes into it and hit pause, and I was like, oh my God, there's 2 hours left and we've gone nowhere, it felt like. Some things though, like early on for me that I caught, like first of all, there's no dialogue for the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Right.
In the first 20 minutes, there's like only a handful of lines. Paul T. Anderson said that he was always fascinated by silent films and had always been interested in making one, and this was the closest he's been able to come to getting that vibe. And he said like basically like the first 5 minutes of the movie, it's like they were just kind of making it, and all of a sudden it's like you realize like we have something here that we don't need dialogue to tell the story of. And for me, like that caught me immediately. I don't know if it caught you guys immediately, where I was like, wow, they haven't said a word in like.
So I noticed it immediately,
but
as I noticed it, I was like, fuck, please tell me that's not this entire movie.
The direction standpoint in that first 20 minutes, like I was like, it's perfect in the sense that it felt like it was a movie from the 50s. It didn't, the first 20 minutes of this movie, more than any other part of this movie, because obviously it advances and then you add dialogue and all these other things, but the visual, like the color tone that they chose was that of an older movie. The one guy or two guys on screen doing like physical stuff to where like their actions are what's speaking for everything, all had this feel of like me walking through the room while like my grandfather's watching a Western. It had that, like, and I appreciated that. I was like, that's a positive to me. Like, I thought that like it fit the tone of the movie very well, and I liked that a lot. In the first 20 minutes, while being like to the same point as you, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know really what the story is. I know it's something about oil because I knew that much. Where does this movie
Where are we
pick up?
going?
And to be fair, I asked myself that at an hour in. I asked myself that at 2 hours in. I was like, because like things happen in the movie, right? Like things are happening, but you're never getting these big plot movements. Like there's nothing like super significant, I think, until the oil rig blows up. because that's definitely the first thing in the movie for me. I don't know about you guys, that actually like I'm in and out of like how much I'm into it. Like I'm like listening, paying attention, because I don't want to miss shit. We're gonna talk about it, so like I'm doing my best to stay like actively engaged in it. And that was the first time where I was like, oh wait, what's happening here? You know, the fucking, and that's the scene that shuts down No Country for Old Men, right?
I would assume so. I think it was.
They were saying the plume of smoke.
I think it was a test of something that they were doing that shut down, but I'm assuming it was a test of that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that scene leads to the son losing his hearing.
Yeah.
Good old HW.
So HW, that's the first movie he's ever acted in. That's the last movie he's ever acted in.
Oh.
The casting director gets pulled over by a cop, starts talking to the cop. The cop finds out they're making a movie, talks about their son. They're interested. They bring the kid in for testing, and they end up giving this kid a fucking job.
But only for that one.
Well, like, no, that's probably by his choice, though.
Oh, okay.
Like, the kid's great.
Yeah.
And like basically like everybody was like, I don't know how we found this kid that's like perfect for what we're doing, and he has no acting history, has no credibility in the industry. It's
That's
just
kind of crazy.
Like a normal kid who lived in the town that they were filming the fucking movie in, basically.
That's kind of crazy.
And you look up his IMDb. If you look at his IMDb, do you have it up? Mm-hmm. At least on the phone. I don't know what it has on here. What's the picture they use for that kid?
It's just like him.
It's a stock image of like
outside of
you can't even tell. Like that's his IMDb picture.
Like that's like his social media profile.
That's probably just an Instagram page from him now.
If you read, like they're like nobody even knows what he does now. Like this dude popped into a like Academy Award winning movie with Daniel Day-Lewis. Had no acting experience, and this is actually the biggest credibility.
I'll let you off if you put my son in your movie.
Yeah,
like
basically, like, and I think this is a bigger credibility or credit to Daniel Day-Lewis, because they basically were just like, yeah, like it could have been intimidating, but like he made it so that kid could be as good as he was. And I think it says a lot. Like, and then you get to the scene of him being deaf, and like he's obviously not in the movie a ton after he goes deaf. But I found myself thinking during that whole thing, it's like kind of crazy early 1900s going deaf, and like it's not just something that like there's not just people readily available who can do like sign language and like communicate for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And how like it makes perfect sense. And it's not like, it's funny, we talked about flight risk on the like earlier. Separate video, watch it. But we talked about heavy-handed directing, right? Like visual context, and I feel like it wasn't heavy-handed enough, or it not enough. But like I liked that it wasn't so heavy-handed. That it's kind of like up to that point with Daniel Day-Lewis's character Plainview, he isn't likable, but he's not unlikable. He's just a business guy.
Yeah,
right.
Like you understand where he's coming from.
But he has that whole speech when he's talking in front of the town about family and like, I have my son with me and it's so important to me. And like, that's one of the moments in the movie where it's kind of that hinge point of like, wait, he actually is just like a selfish, shitty human being. Mm-hmm. And that was all bullshit. Like everything that this guy does is just a sales pitch.
Yeah. He just has a silver tongue, you know. It's all about like, I have my drive, I have my goals, I will do and say whatever necessary.
But I think for the first like hour and 25 minutes, they did a really good job of setting him up as more of like, especially that 20 minutes of no dialogue. Like I first noted my phone on this movie is like oil drilling looks like the most miserable hard work possible. Like he's just in a mine with his little tiny chisel.
Yeah.
Just like hitting away in this fucking hole in the ground, you know, and like just dirty every
single
day.
You see the excitement
that was silver
when they strike oil.
Yeah, but like, but I guess like mining was what I wrote. Was like I wrote mining's like a hard job.
All I could think of was Ben Stiller in Zoolander. Ugh. When he's got no,
it's not ringing.
I got the black lung pop.
But yeah, I think they just did a good job for that first hour of like, even though he's talking and he's getting like he's moving up in terms of like equity, he still is like in the mud, you know, like he like literally like he's like in it, like working his ass off. You know?
He's definitely like he was definitely a hard worker on top of just being a piece of shit. Like he talked the talk and he walked the walk, but like everything that like he just said, and he positioned himself every time to have the upper hand in every single situation. So
yeah, so that kind of gets to some other points. I wanted to bring up one thing before I forget it. We talked about Paul Dano.
Yeah.
Second time playing a character named Eli. Do you know what the first time was?
Oh. Fuck, I knew he looked familiar.
It's the second time playing a character named Eli.
He was a snake when he was Eli, right? No?
Maybe there's a third Eli. I don't know.
Is there a third
but
Eli?
It popped up a second one. And actually, I think I'm wrong now that I'm saying it because I think it's the other kid in the movie's name is Eli.
No, Paul Dano is Eli.
No, in this movie it is. I'm talking about the other one I'm talking about. There's a character named Eli, and I thought it was him. But it's the girl next door. But I think Eli's the nerdy kid who makes the movie, and then his name's just Klitz, right?
Klitz,
And the girl next door. I thought Klitz was the nickname and Eli was his real name, but I think Eli's the other kid, like the filmer, right?
Why am I not remembering the girl next door?
yeah, other guy.
The other guy's Eli. Fuck. Okay, my bad on the trivia, guys. Klitz. Huge piece. And the girl next door. Paul Dano, huge dick.
Man's packing.
So going back to the oil rig explosion, I put a note in my phone after that was like all this because he missed a prayer. Because like he doesn't let Paul Dano do the prayer at like to bless the site.
Yeah, because he doesn't let another person tell him what to do.
Yes. Yeah. But then from there on, like he has the guy die in the well, and then the thing lights on fire, and his son loses his hearing. And I was like, all this because he didn't let the dude bless his fucking thing. Like this is what prayer does to him.
The fire wasn't, other than like his son losing his hearing, the fire wasn't a bad thing. That was them finding the oil. Yeah. As you say, like, hey, like, why do you have a frown on your face? Like, there's a mountain of oil underneath us.
And it also just goes further to depict him as an asshole because it's like his son's like fucking miserable.
Yeah. How's HW? Is he all right? He is not.
Oh. Yeah. All that because of sick player. I didn't well, I wrote how hot is that fire? Because like they were standing in front of that thing for a while, and I was like, dude, I stand next to a campfire. It's too close, and you're like, this thing's fucking hot. And this is just a mile high flame that they're standing like a football field away from, and I'm like, that's got to be the hottest feeling. Like you could probably feel that heat towns over,
probably,
right?
Because like I've driven like on the highway, like opposite side of the highway with a car on fire, and I feel the heat from within my car.
Being in the back wall of a concert and with any sort of pyrotechnics, man, and that stuff.
Dude, wrestling, going to like the WWE events.
Oh yeah.
When they do the pyro on the stage, you can feel that like out into the crowd. Like, yeah, but like I was just, that popped in my head when I saw that flame. I'm like, dude, they're just standing there casually. That's got to be uncomfortably hot. Even acting in front of that flame was probably like, this is a lot. Yeah. More Paul Dano. The scene of him getting his ass kicked.
Oh, when he was rubbing his face in the oil.
Oh, most embarrassing. I'm going to drown you in this mud, dude. Like the most embarrassing ass whooping ever caught on film. He's just bitch slapping him over and over again. He lets out this scream. Paul Dano lets out this scream that is so perfectly high pitched. I'm like, I literally just wrote like the most embarrassing ass whooping I've ever seen on a movie. Like he gets on top of him. He never punches him once. He slaps him lightly in the face and says, "I'm gonna drown you in this fucking mud."
But I love the get back in the church when he's smacking him.
Yeah.
I've abandoned my child. I've abandoned my boy.
But this goes to like the Dano stuff. Are those scenes, right? Like any of those church scenes with Dano, they were so eccentric and so lively that those are the ones that resonate the most. Yeah. And I think that's where his performance, and it's by design like that, I guess, like Daniel Day-Lewis is just like the guy so much through this that like you just, it kind of feels Like it is what it is at some point, maybe. But the Dano stuff, he pops out with this energy that's like so contrary to what everything else is, that those scenes feel so like at another level. Yeah.
I mean, albeit like Paul Dano was also in the scene, but I think like the final scene between the two of them, I think just the intensity and the insanity out of Daniel Day-Lewis in that scene was just brilliant.
Well, and I love the consistency of the character. He tells you like when he's talking to his brother about like, are you competitive?
Yeah.
And like this whole time, and you bring this up to say like the whole idea, like why he wouldn't let him bless the well. Like he's had in the back of his head that this dude made him get on his knees in a church
for years.
Yeah. And has just been biding his time with the idea that your brother, the whole time your brother's the one who said this, like the whole time he had this stuff in the back of his head.
You are not the chosen one. Your brother, Paul.
Yeah. You like, this isn't your destiny. This was your brother's destiny. He's the one who got $10,000. I still owe you $5,000. I was never going to pay you $5,000. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
like I paid your brother. He was smart. You're fucking dumb. And you think you've won this whole time? You think you're going to come back here and like have one over on me? I've been robbing you blind for years.
Yeah.
Drainage.
Yeah. If you have a shake over there and I take my little straw and my straw's all the way over here and I take it and I dip it into your little shake over here and I drink it all the way up.
You are your mother's afterbirth. Like,
oh no, you were born into your mother's excrement.
Yeah.
Was what she said. You were the afterbirth. You were born into your mother's excrement.
They should have put you in a jar.
I never thought about that. My mother's a twin. I need to find out who was born into shit. I've never thought about that anytime there's a twin, one of them is literally born into the mud. I need to hear that kid who's just like, I came out of the mud. I was a twin. I was a second son. I've been stepping out of shit my whole life.
Oh man,
you think you have it bad? The Paul Dano death is like so anticlimactic initially, and then I like that he has to hit him again because the first one feels like it shouldn't be. Yeah. Like it shouldn't be enough to kill him. The same as the gunshot to his brother also feels like there's such soft, like he has this little tiny kid gun that he like shoots his brother with. And then
I like that they didn't try to make it like a whole grandiose like Hollywood death either. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because then like, but the Dano one, it's like so subtle. Just this one hit to where you're like, is he just unconscious? And then it lingers for like 30 seconds.
And he thinks about it. He's like, do I have what it takes? Hell yeah, get rid of this guy.
Yeah, this guy tried to beat me. I need to murder him now. Like everything in his head. Last thing, I guess, to talk about the evolution of the relationship with his son. What did you guys think of the sign language conversation?
I mean, it was tough. Like, but I mean, it's exactly who he was in his character the entire time. He just never outwardly like told him. He's like, yeah, you are literally just a cute face for me to win people over and buy cheap land.
That it's such a brutal thing to say to somebody.
Yeah.
You were just a tool, right? Like you were quite literally
you're a boy in a basket or whatever he was saying.
Do you guys think that he will be successful in his endeavor? Did he learn everything that his father had to teach him?
Oh, I mean, I have no idea what he was doing as an adult.
I mean, but he was like right at his hip the entire time as a kid, and he was asking him the right questions.
Did you say something about like he was becoming his competitor or something like that?
Well, that was his whole reason for kicking him out of the family and saying all those mean things. Yeah, was that he would be his competition. But I think back to them talking about like how much to pay. He was teaching the kid about how much to get them to pay for the land. So like, yeah, I know there's oil on here, but they don't. So I'm going to charge them the fee that I would pay
for quail hunting.
For quail, not for oil. And like, that's part of being a businessman. And like teaching him about like the train tax and why we're going to build a pipeline, because then we're going to save money on the export costs. And like he was spitting game to this kid at fucking 8 years old. Yeah. When he could hear, he was absorbing some shit.
You gave him the roadmap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which then, did he think that he was building a business? Did he never foresee a world where this kid would do it? Or did he just always say to himself, if he ever tries to step out from underneath me, I'm going to kill him? Well, like, not literally kill him, but like...
I mean, the whole point of like being like such a narcissist and having such an ego is that like anybody throughout like your entire life that like you took under your wing, you showed mercy, you know, you taught them anything, you gave them any money, they owe you.
Yeah.
You know, so for him to step away and be like, all right, cool, I'm going to do my own thing. It's like, he's like, yeah, okay, well, you're my competitor now. You're dead to me. You know, you can't walk away from me. Like, you owe me everything. You owe me your life. So you want to step away? Like, cool. Like, we're going to fight.
Do you think he's still going to, Daniel Day-Lewis, because he's so cutthroat, is going to win too with his son, right?
Probably, because he'd probably go to further lengths than his son.
Like, I feel like the sequel to this movie or the follow-up to this movie is like Daniel Day-Lewis, like his son having too much compassion and not perceiving it as a competitor and seeing that as his father and wanting to maintain that relationship to not do what it takes. Whereas Daniel Day-Lewis will, or Plainview will do whatever necessary to make it happen in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Final takeaways. Like we said, I can appreciate the performances. There's definitely some standout moments to me that like we talked about. But overall, it's not a rewatchable movie.
No,
like I don't think this
definitely
has.
a tough movie.
Yeah, I don't think this movie has rewatchability. It's too dry. This movie, honestly, though. Okay, this is a conversation. Last conversation. In the times of TV, when you would watch movies, right? So instead of sitting down and watching something, no commercials for 2.5 hours straight.
Bro, this would be like a fucking
3 hour. It would be a
4
4-hour block or 3.5 hour block on TVs
yeah.
with commercial. But I bring this up to say there's a certain thing, and Bill Simmons talks about this, that like there's certain movies that are perfect that when you had TV, you would just find it on TV and you'd stop and it'd be halfway through the movie. And you've seen this movie a million times, but it's never from start to finish. It's like, I picked up at this scene and I just watched it because I put it on and I couldn't stop watching it. Does this movie have any of that appeal to where like if you were skipping through channels and you came across the oil scene or something like that, or the church scenes, would that have drawn you in to get you to stick around to watch more of the movie versus just trying to turn this on and watch it from start to finish?
Maybe just to like, I guess like if I happened to have put it on and maybe I'd watch a little bit for context, but I probably would have got out of it pretty quick.
Yeah. Dave?
I don't think outside of doing this, I would have actually sat through that movie.
I think it's tough. I think some of the scenes that you explained, like, sure, if you catch it at the exact perfect time.
That's what I mean.
Otherwise, I think 95% of the movie, you would turn it on and be like, oh, like, we're in the desert. All right, next.
I think that the thing with watching stuff on TV, though, like, and where you're like, if you caught it at the perfect moment, like they do like, you know, when you right before the commercial, they're getting you at that like perfect point.
Yeah.
Like you could just flip on the channel and like you end up at one of those scenes because that's the way that
that's
pour
why
it
they
out.
choose to cut. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. So like then you just get caught up and you're like, all right, I'll wait through this commercial because I know what's coming next and it's this scene or like whatever, you know. I like I said, yeah, not rewatchable. I do think that there's rewatchable scenes. I think this is a thing where I'm going to scroll through TikTok and if like a certain scene popped up, I could see myself rewatching it, but nothing more than that for me.
Yeah.
Let us know if you guys watched it at home. If this was a first watch, a second watch, is it rewatchable? Daniel Day-Lewis, greatest actor of all time. Is that the case? Paul Dano, underrated, overrated, etc. And where's that kid now? Let us know what job he's working at. And then next week we're going to be coming back. We're going to lighten things up next week. Go a little bit more with your prototypical. I think this is like the definition of blockbuster, like summer movie. This is one of those. Dave doesn't agree. There's only one way to find out. You got to come back next week, find out. Also, let us know if maybe you watch it, you think it's a blockbuster. It isn't a blockbuster. I don't know. To me, is the exact thing. Armageddon. The movie's Armageddon. We're talking about the movie Armageddon.
You were edging me there. I was like,
I was going to say, did he just forget?
No, I was just going to see how long I can track that out. I don't know.
Bruce Willis, Ben Affleck,
Owen Wilson, Steve Buscemi, Michael Clark Duncan, Liv Tyler, Billy Bob Thornton. There's more too, but like that's just like,
holy shit.
I mean, it's a crazy cast. It is. It is as illustrious a cast as you could ever find. So yeah, join us next week to check that out. Until then, though, Drop a like, comment, share, and subscribe on the video, and we bid you follow. Adieu.
Peace.
See ya.
Skeet.
For those with good taste.
I didn't want to cheddar Bob.
Get a magnum next time.
Yeah.